Hello and welcome to the Party Animal Podcast, episode number 16, Bars, Lounges, and Nightclubs. And I'm your host, Thomas.
Hey everyone, I'm your hostess, Luna. I'm so happy to be here with everyone for this episode.
Shout out to Dices, if you're listening, for allowing us to use this sick instrumental.
It really sets the mood, doesn't it? It has that slightly ominous driving beat, which is perfect because today is Friday, February 13th, 2026. Friday the 13th.
That is right. Friday the 13th. You know, some people might stay in, superstitious and all that. They see the date on the calendar and think about black cats and ladders. But for the party animals out there, this is probably just another excuse to hit the town. There is something about that date that feels a little electric, maybe a little dangerous.
Absolutely. It adds a layer of, psychological tension.
Yeah.
And that tension between the excitement and the risk is exactly what we're getting into today.
Yeah.
We are exploring the entire ecosystem of nightlife. We're talking about everything from the high-energy thumping nightclubs to those low-key, intimate lounges and just the classic local bars. Right.
We want to weigh the fun because, let's be honest, it is fun against the risks that are always lurking in the background.
It is a huge landscape. And, I think a lot of people use these terms interchangeably, like I'm going to the club or I'm going to the bar or let's hit a lounge. It all just means going out to most people.
Yeah, it's just a catch-all.
But if you actually look at the business models, the architecture, and the psychology behind them, they are very different beasts. They are designed to extract money from us in very different ways.
They really are. And it is interesting because if you look at the research, specifically around how these places distinguish themselves, the differences are foundational. It comes down to what the primary activity is.
Okay.
Let's start with the bar, the classic bar.
The bar, the backbone of civilization,
Right, so-
the watering hole.
Right. But strictly speaking, a bar is defined by the drinking concept.
Mm.
The primary activity there is consumption and, conversation.
Yeah.
You go there, you order a drink, maybe some food. But the architecture, and this is a key term here, is sociopedal. Sociopedal. Break that down for me.
It means the design pulls people together, the layout faces inward. The bar stool is positioned so you can turn to the person next to you. The tables are usually smaller. The noise level is ideally set so you can speak without screaming.
Right, you can actually have a conversation.
Exactly. The focus is on the interaction between people, facilitated by the drink. It is about value.
Yeah, you aren't paying a cover charge usually. You aren't dressing up in a tuxedo or a ball gown. It feels democratic.
Exactly. The atmosphere is about the drink and the food. It is not necessarily about the spectacle. You are not there to be watched, necessarily. You are there to hang out. It is accessible. It is the modern version of the public square.
Okay, so that is the baseline. That is where we go to talk. But then you have the nightclub, and that feels like a totally different universe. If the bar is sociopedal, what is the club?
The nightclub is often sociofugal.
Sociofugal, like a centrifuge, pushing things out.
Exactly. The architecture pushes people apart or directs their attention toward a single focal point, usually the DJ booth or the stage.
Ah, I see.
The nightclub is defined by entertainment. Alcohol is there, obviously, often in large quantities, but it is actually secondary to the business model. The primary product is the music, the lighting, the sensory overload. It's the experience.
I was looking at this thesis from MIT, which, by the way, how cool is it that someone wrote a master's thesis on nightclub location choices?
So cool.
And it had this great definition. It said, a nightclub is distinguished by the inclusion of a dance floor and a DJ booth.
That is the key distinction. The dance floor is the main event. It is where the action happens.
Yeah.
In a bar, the bar counter is the center of gravity. In a club, it is the dance floor. And because it is about the experience, you have this whole other layer of psychology involved, specifically the psychology of rejection.
Oh, the velvet rope. This is where my anxiety kicks in.
The velvet rope, the bouncers, that feeling of, can I get in? The MIT research mentioned this neon no vacancy sign at a place called Bungalow 8. It is this idea that you have to be selected.
It creates desire.
It creates this desire. If you can't get in, you want to get in even more. It is signaling theory 101.
Signaling theory.
Basically, if everyone can have it, it's not worth having. If I have to wait in the cold for 2 hours and the doorman picks me, it signals that I have value.
Right.
It validates my ego. It validates my outfit.
It is wild how that works. You see a line, you assume it is the place to be. If the door was just wide open, it might lose some of that mystique. But honestly, sometimes I look at that line and just think, Why are we doing this to ourselves?
Because we want to be part of the tribe that gets chosen. But then, and this is something we have seen really evolve, especially in the last 5 or 6 years, is the lounge.
The lounge. That sounds like where I belong at my age. That sounds like my knees hurting less.
Oh. Well, it is interesting you say that because the data shows a huge shift post-2020. After the pandemic, the way people wanted to socialize changed dramatically.
Oh, yeah.
There was this move away from the jam-packed, shoulder-to-shoulder, sweating on strangers environment of the mega club.
Makes sense. People got used to personal space. We spent 2 years standing 6 feet apart. It is hard to go back to being crushed against a stranger.
They did. And so we saw this rise of the intimate, seated experience. The lounge is defined by comfortable seating, plush chairs, couches, and lower volume music.
You can actually hear someone talk.
You can actually hear the person next to you. It is a hybrid model. It has the exclusivity of the club, often with bottle service, but the sociability of the bar.
That is a novel concept, hearing what your data is saying.
It is. And for venue owners, it was a smart pivot. Instead of a dance floor that is empty until 1 a.m., you have tables that are generating revenue from 8 p.m. onwards.
That's smart.
It creates a safer, more controlled environment, which a lot of people really started to prefer. You aren't getting bumped into. You aren't getting drinks spilled on you.
So we have the bar, the club, and the lounge. But let's talk about the money. Because behind the neon lights in the DJ booth, this is a business, a ruthless business sometimes. And before we dive into the insane economics of bottle service,
we have to take a quick pause.
We do.
If you're enjoying Party Animal podcast episodes, take a quick moment to subscribe to more future episodes, click the like button, and turn on notifications.
We've decided to introduce something a bit more fun for those of you listening right now. As an added incentive, if you own your own business and sign up for our Patreon membership, we will give a shout out to your business in our episode to help others discover your company. We also give random birthday shout outs, so please feel free to leave your birthday in the comments section down below. So head over and join our Party Animal tribe.
And we are back.
Okay, so we were just about to unpack the financial engine of the nightclub, bottle service.
Oh, absolutely. Bottle service is the holy grail for these venue owners.
Yeah.
It is the difference between a club breaking even and a club making millions.
I have to be honest, though. I look at a bottle of vodka on a menu for $600. And I know for a fact I can buy that exact same bottle at the store for maybe $30, $40, and I just feel scammed. Why am I paying $300 or $400 or more for it here? It feels like robbery.
Or more, sometimes thousands. I have seen champagne lists go into the 5 figures.
Wow.
But here's the logic. You have to stop thinking about the liquid in the bottle. You aren't paying for the vodka.
What am I paying for then? The sparkler.
You are paying for the real estate. Think about the square footage of a nightclub. It is incredibly expensive to rent a space in downtown Manhattan or London or Miami.
Right.
Now think about the dance floor. The people standing on the dance floor might buy 1 drinking hour, maybe.
If they can even get to the bar.
Yeah, exactly. So the revenue per square foot on the dance floor is relatively low, but a table sits empty if no one pays for it. So the venue sets a minimum spend. They are leasing you that patch of leather sofa for the night. They know exactly how much that real estate is worth that night. If the minimum is $2,000, they have guaranteed that revenue before you even sit down.
So the markup on the alcohol is basically rent.
Precisely. Plus, the profit margins on spirits are insane.
Oh, sure.
If you sell that $30 bottle for $600, that is a 2,000% markup. You don't get that margin on food. You don't get that margin on beer.
And it is efficient, right? You don't have 20 people crowding the bar waiting for a bartender.
Yeah.
You have one server handling a table of 10.
Exactly. It streamlines the service.
Yeah.
But it also offers something to the customer. Why do people pay it? Because they get VIP treatment, they get to skip that line we talked about, they get their own personal space-exclusive real estate in a crowded room.
Yeah.
It is about status. You are paying for the right to sit down while everyone else stands up.
Yeah.
It creates a hierarchy.
That is really what it is. Buying the right to sit down.
Yeah.
And buying the right to be seen sitting down.
Yes, and let's talk about the sparkler show. You mentioned the sparkler earlier. That isn't just decoration. That is a psychological weapon.
A weapon.
It is mimetic desire. When a waitress marches through the club with a bottle held high, fireworks shooting out of it, maybe a sign with your name on it, every single head in the club turns.
It is impossible to ignore.
Right. And everyone looking thinks 2 things. 1, who is that? And 2, I want that.
Yes.
It triggers the other tables to order more. It becomes a spending competition. Oh, that table got 1 bottle. We are getting 2. The venue gamifies the spending.
That is diabolical and brilliant.
It is. And then there is the location aspect. Have you ever noticed how clubs always seem to be right next to each other?
Yeah, like the meatpacking district in New York or 27th Street. It's like a cluster. Or in any major city, there is always that one street where it is just chaos on a Friday night.
That is not an accident. There is a symbiotic relationship there.
Symbiotic how? Like they help each other? I would think they would want to be far away from the competition so they get all the customers.
You would think so, but the economics of nightlife work differently. Let's say you go to a place like Marquee. It is the big dog on the block. The line is huge. The doorman is tough. You get rejected. You can't get in.
Story of my life. I'm standing there, dressed up, feeling stupid.
Well, if you are stuck on the sidewalk, you are not just going to go home. You have already invested time in getting ready. You have invested money in the cab. You are all dressed up. So you look next door.
Right.
Oh, there's Pink Elephant. Or there is Home. Or there is some lounge you have never heard of. You go to the neighbor. The smaller clubs feed off the overflow of the big clubs.
So if you were opening a club, you actually want to be next to the competition. You want to be the backup plan.
Yes. It creates a district. It becomes like Disney World for adults. You go there because you know there is energy. If one place is dead, another might be popping. It lowers the risk for the person going out.
Right.
You know that if you take a cab to that street, something will be happening.
But then you have the opposite, right? The destination club.
Yeah.
The place that breaks the rule.
Right. This is the place that is so cool, so exclusive, it doesn't need neighbors. There is a quote about Amy Sacco, the queen of New York nightlife for a while. She ran Bungalow 8. They said she could open a place on the moon and people would go.
That is power.
It is. You had places like the Roxy back in the day, way out in the middle of nowhere, but people trekked to it because it was the place.
That's a huge risk.
But that is a high-risk game. If you lose your cool factor, you are just a building in a warehouse district with no foot traffic. You are dead in the water.
Speaking of cool factors and risks, I want to pivot in a second to the social side of things, why we actually do this. Because despite the cost, despite the rejection, we keep going back.
We don't.
So let's unpack the human side. Why do we go? What is the magic?
It is about connection. Sociologists call it the third place.
Third place.
So you have your home, that's the first place. You have your work, that's the second place. And then you need that third place to exist, to socialize, to be part of a community.
It used to be bowling alleys, right? Or churches, or union halls.
Exactly. Robert Putnam wrote about this in Bowling Alone. Those traditional community spots have faded. So for a lot of people, especially young professionals, the bar or the club has filled that void. It's not just about getting wasted. It's about networking. It is about bumping into people.
Huge for networking. There's this great anecdote about the Google and YouTube deal. Do you know where that was finalized?
I love this story.
I assume a boardroom somewhere in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
With lawyers and strict lighting.
At Denny's.
At Denny's. Like moons over my hammy Denny's.
At Denny's.
Yeah.
But the principle holds for bars and clubs. Business happens in social spaces. The guard comes down a little bit. You are connecting as people, not just as job titles. When you share a meal or a drink, you are engaging in a ritual that is thousands of years old.
I can see that. I mean, how many times have you met someone out, maybe shared a drink and realized, hey, we could actually work together?
All the time. And it is the aura of excitement. When you walk into a busy club district and the lights are flashing and you hear the bass thumping from the street, it does feel like an adult version of a theme park.
It does.
It is an escape from the mundane. You aren't just an accountant or a teacher anymore. You are a party animal. You are a star in your own movie for a few hours.
You are part of the scene. But, you know, being part of the scene in 2026 looks a little different than it did in 2006 or even 2016. The trends are shifting. We aren't just drinking vodka sodas anymore.
They really are. And one of the biggest ones we are seeing this year is the rise of the sober bar.
This fascinates me. A bar with no booze? It sounds like a paradox.
It sounds like an oxymoron, right? But it is huge with Gen Z. They are favoring what they call sober rituals. They want the social connection. They want the third place.
Right.
They want the lights and the music, but they don't want the ethanol.
So you go out, you socialize, the lights are down, the music is up, but you are drinking a mocktail.
Exactly. And these aren't just juice in a cup. These are craft experiences. Complex flavors, botanicals, smoke, spices. They are treating non-alcoholic drinks with the same reverence as a fine scotch.
Interesting.
They're using adaptogens, mushrooms, things that give you a little mood boost without the impairment.
That is smart.
Yeah.
Because you keep the social context. You still get to hang out. The 21-plus rule is often still there, so you don't have kids running around. It keeps the adult vibe but removes the hangover.
And the business model works. They are profiting without pouring alcohol. Dry January used to be a month-long thing. Now, for a lot of people, it is evolving into a year-round lifestyle.
Right.
It is damp lifestyle or sober curious.
I have also heard about listening bars. What is that about? Is that just a quiet pub?
Oh, I love this trend. It originated in Japan, called jazz kissa. It is all about sophisticated simplicity. Instead of chaotic noise where your ears are ringing for 3 days, these places focus on high-fidelity audio systems.
So it is for audiophiles.
Kind of. It is for anyone who appreciates sound. They play vinyl. They have incredible speakers. We're talking vintage clip scorns or tannoys.
Wow.
And the volume is set so you can feel the music, but it is not aggressive. It creates a much more chill, appreciative atmosphere. It is less about let's lose our minds and more about let's experience this art.
That sounds incredibly civilized. I might need to find one of those. I'm tired of screaming at people to ask them how their week was.
We will find you one, don't worry.
But of course, we can't talk about nightlife without talking about the dark side. Because for every great night out, there is the potential for things to go wrong, and sometimes really wrong. We need to talk about safety.
This is the important part of the conversation, the safety narrative. And I think we need to revisit the story of Tyler from Chicago. We touched on this in a previous discussion, but it bears repeating because it illustrates the specific mechanics of how a night goes bad.
Yeah, Tyler's story is a classic example of how quickly things can turn. It wasn't a horror movie from the start. It started as a celebration.
So let's paint the picture. Picture the setup. Tyler is a young guy. He is drawn to the neon lights, that promise of uninhibited fun we talked about earlier. He goes out to a renowned club in Chicago with a group of friends. It is 11 p.m. The mood is high.
The atmosphere is intoxicating. Literally and figuratively. Everyone is laughing.
Right, the music is pumping, the crowd is swaying, and the drinks start flowing. And this is where the cons kick in, impaired judgment.
Yeah.
At 11 p.m., you are sharp. You are aware of your surroundings. By 1 a.m., after 4 or 5 drinks, that edge is gone.
It is a slippery slope. You have 1, you have 2, you are having a great time. You feel invincible. You think, I know this place, I know these people, but you don't.
Exactly. And in Tyler's case, that uninhibited fun led to a situation where he became vulnerable. The incident itself, it involved getting separated from his group. Let's look at that specific moment.
Okay.
It is crowded. He turns around and grabs a drink from the bar. He turns back. The crowd has shifted. It is like the sea closing in. His friends are gone.
And usually you just text him, right? Where are you?
Oh, but his phone was dead. Or he had no signal, which happens all the time in these basement clubs.
Right.
Now he is alone, he's intoxicated, he is disoriented, and predators look for that. They look for the straggler.
Safety in numbers. It is the oldest rule in the book for a reason.
Tyler ended up in a bad situation because he was isolated and intoxicated. He was robbed, he was assaulted. And the lesson he took from that and that he now advocates for is the absolute necessity of watching out for your friends.
Absolutely.
You don't let your friend wander off alone at 2 a.m. You have to be your brother's keeper.
No, never. And it's not just about bad judgment. It is about external threats. Theft is huge.
It is rampant. Crowded environments, dim lighting, loud music. It is the perfect cover for pickpockets or people slipping something into a drink. You put your drink down for 3 seconds to tie your shoe or take a selfie, and that is enough time.
And then there is the vulnerability of just leaving. You walk out of that club at 2 a.m. or 4 a.m., the streets are emptier, you are tired, your senses are dulled. That is a dangerous window of time. You are waiting for an Uber on a dark corner.
It is. And technology is trying to catch up to help with this. We have seen data from Solink about how venues are using AI now.
AI bouncers. Are we getting RoboCop at the door?
Sort of. They use video management systems that don't just record for theft. They analyze flow. They can spot overcrowding before it becomes a crush. They can spot aggressive behavior patterns.
Really?
The AI can look at the body language of 2 people arguing and flag it to security. Hey, camera 4, potential fight developing.
That is amazing.
It is about using tech to monitor safety in real time so security can intervene before a fight breaks out or before someone gets hurt. It is proactive rather than reactive.
That is good to hear because the financial toll of a night out is high enough without getting your wallet stolen.
Oh my gosh, let's talk about the cost. It is an expensive proposition, especially in a city like New York or London or Tokyo.
You step out the door and you are already down money. Just breathing the air costs money.
Cabs, cover charges, coat check. That is $50 before you have even had a sip of alcohol.
Yeah.
And then the drinks.
I have seen rounds of drinks cost $50 easily, sometimes more.
Easily. If you are getting a cocktail, it is $20. You buy a round for 3 friends, that is $80 plus tip. It accumulates so fast, and because you were having fun and maybe your judgment is impaired, you just keep tapping that card.
There is that analogy of forking out tons of cash for a simple cocktail.
Yeah.
You're holding this glass of liquid and thinking, I worked 2 hours for this.
Mm-hmm.
I sat in a cubicle for 120 minutes so I could drink this in 10 minutes.
But again, you are paying for the rent, the lights, the DJ, the insurance. You are paying for the possibility of something magical happening.
And the conflict with the neighbors. That is another cost people don't think about, the regulatory struggle. The venue pays a fortune to fight legal battles.
This is fascinating to me, the elderly lady visualization.
Picture it. You have this hot new club, thumping bass, line out the door. It is the place to be. And directly upstairs on the 3rd floor is an elderly lady who has lived there for 40 years.
She goes to bed at 10 p.m. The club gets going at 11 p.m. The bass vibrates her teacups.
She calls the police.
Every weekend. She calls the city council. And who wins that fight? Usually the resident. This creates huge friction.
Yeah, I bet.
It is why you see zoning laws like the 500-foot law.
Explain that for the listeners.
Basically, in many cities, you can't have too many liquor licenses within a 500-foot radius, or you can't be within 500 feet of a school or church. It creates these invisible zones where clubs simply cannot exist. It is a way to control the nuisance.
Which pushes them to industrial areas.
Exactly. That is why the best clubs are often in the warehouse districts. No neighbors to complain about the noise. It is the only place they can operate without being shut down as a nuisance.
But then that creates the safety issue we talked about.
Yeah.
You're leaving a club at 4 a.m. in a deserted warehouse district.
It is all connected. The zoning, the safety, the cost.
That is.
So what does this all mean? We have the glamour, the trends, the money, but also the risks, the costs, and the angry neighbors.
It is a balancing equation. That is the conclusion we have to come to.
Right.
There's an undeniable romance to the night. Dressing up, the electricity of meeting someone new, that feeling that anything could happen, we need that release. We need to dance.
But you have to balance that romance with the business reality. The venue sees you as a wallet, the pickpocket sees you as a target, and the alcohol sees you as, well, a lightweight maybe?
Right. The importance of being a responsible party animal cannot be overstated. You have to enjoy the vibe without falling into the pitfalls.
Yeah.
You get the best night of your life or the worst, and often the difference is just a few small decisions.
Yes.
Staying with friends, watching your drink, knowing when to call it a night.
Knowing when to switch to water, or maybe checking out one of those sober bars we talked about.
Exactly. You can have the fun without the hangover. You can have the connection without the risk.
So I want to throw this out to the listeners. What are your experiences? Do you prefer the high energy of a club or the chill vibe of a lounge? Share your opinions in the comments section. We really want to hear your war stories or your recommendations.
Are you Team Velvet Rope or Team Cozy Couch? Let us know.
Make sure to check back for future episodes. Please click that like button, turn on notifications, and subscribe to help this podcast bring more awareness to others while you enjoy an amazing time, minus the pitfalls. Be safe out there.